This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2024. We're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, it is the latest edition of Between the Pods. And today's episode will feature a conversation with Sam Showalter. He is the District 2 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association. And today we're going to learn about his recent trip, which he took to Peru and Colombia. It's time now for our closing market summary.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Joined today at the end of trading on Monday by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our closing market discussion. And Kenan, we got to start here. Just a lot of red on the screen today. Nearly the entire board was red. What did we see in the grains?
Yeah, grains were down across the board. Some of the reasoning for that is thought to be the non-threatening forecast that Hurricane Beryl has made landfall in Texas, and they think that that's going to move up nicely into the eastern corn belt and kind of avoid some of the too wet areas, but give rain to some of the drier areas. It has almost an optimum forecast right now. We'll see if that holds. And then as far as wheat being down so much that Kansas City led the way, and there's more reports of that crop just being an awesome crop this year, and yields may be increasing on that. And there's some discussion whether they'll increase the yields on that on this WASDE report or the next WASDE report is some of the stuff that was being talked about today.
So basically the weather in combination with, we see it sometimes where the wheat moves to the upside and is able to bring some of the commodities along with it. Does it work the other way then too, when wheat is the leader bringing commodities to, or moving to the downside? Can it bring the commodities with it?
Yeah, that can happen. I think it was kind of more disparate there today. Soybeans were down very hard, and that forecast and corn pollination coming in, I think those were kind of the leaders today. That non-threatening forecast might have been the biggest thing playing in the market today. And I know that forecast plays into that spring wheat too up in our area in North Dakota, that our spring wheat crops look great. Canola looks great up here. We've had some nice cool weather to prop up those crops too. So I think non-threatening weather was probably the leader affecting everything.
Then we also have a WASDE report coming out later this week. That is going to be on Friday. Do we take the July report? What do we think about it? Because I know each month kind of has a different weight to it in terms of the WASDE report and how much we really put into it. What does the July report typically look like?
The July report, they kind of start using some of their own estimated yields on that. So sometimes you see some yield changes there, but today, I think at noon, and I haven't looked at them yet, but we should see some guesses on what analysts are thinking. So that'd be something to look at here to see what, if anything, they're planning on having large moves here, which is something, I don't know, I'd be looking at change at some of the yields possibly. And just pay attention when you guys are looking at your emails, your market news, what those yield predictions are for Friday. And then we'll see if the USDA, agrees with analysts or disagrees.
Let's go over to the other side of the ag marketplace and the protein complex. Did we have as much red on the market screens over on that side?
Not initially. Initially, cattle started out the day hot to trot out the gates, and we're up higher, but then had a reversal and closed significantly lower in both the live and the feeders. Hogs were down across the board also, besides that August contract in hogs. So that was not what cattle people wanted to see. But we're still above some of the recent lows, and we'll be looking to, at least in feeders, get past that May high that's kind of put a cap on the market here recently.
And as we know, we haven't had a ton of great news as it relates to the hog market here recently. But going back to last Friday, looking at those export numbers, got some really good numbers for the hog exports. And we know that that is such a big part of that side of, I guess, the ag marketplace and so important to the hogs specifically. What did you think of those numbers on Friday?
As you mentioned, great numbers. Market didn't really seem to react too hard on Friday to those really positive export numbers. But, if we can keep exports strong, hopefully they bring in some domestic demand here with high beef prices. That's one area that I think hogs have been lacking, and exports have been fairly strong. Like you said, they were strong Friday, but we just need the domestic to follow along with that also.
He is Kenan Layden of agmarket.net, our guest here on Monday. Kenan, a lot of great resources from the team at agmarket.net. Should they head to the website first if they want to help find some of those resources?
Yeah, like we usually tell you here at the end of the day, head to our website, look for our resources, check out our app, look for a broker in your area.
Kenan, thanks so much for the time here today, and best of luck with the busy week. And cap that off with the report on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you to Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our market summary. Not a pretty day in the ag marketplace, but let's turn now to the closing numbers, which can be found under the markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
September corn closes down 17 1/4 at $3.93 1/4. August soybeans down 17 1/4 at $11.49 even. August soybean meal down $7.20 at $3.50 even. August soybean oil down 46 cents at $49.09. Chicago wheat down 20 even at $5.70 1/2. Minneapolis wheat down 15 3/4 at $6.17 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 21 3/4 at $5.77 1/4. And September oats down 5 1/4 at $3.08 1/2. On the Merc, August live cattle down $2.07 at $184.35. August feeder cattle down $2.30 at $259.17. August lean hogs up 35 cents at $89.52. August pork cutout down $1.47 at $101.25. Class 3 milk closes up 8 cents at $19.80.
That's our ag market coverage for today. It is time now to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. Up next, it is the latest edition of Between the Pods.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM, and it is time now for Between the Pods. In today's show, I'm joined by Sam Showalter, District 2 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association. We're going to hear about his recent trip to Peru and Colombia.
It's time to go between the pods with the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network and the Iowa Soybean Association. For the next year, we will explore the ways Iowa-grown soybeans are making a difference at home and around the world. Now, here's your host of Between the Pods, Mark Magnuson.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Sam Showalter at the Iowa Soybean Association. He is the District 2 Director. And Sam, could you remind us where District 2 is located at in the state of Iowa?
Yeah, so I'm from Hampton, north central Iowa, about an hour and a half north of Des Moines.
And that's a short trip from Des Moines to Hampton. You recently went on a much longer trip as you took a trip to South America, to Peru and Colombia. Could you tell us what the overall goals for that trip were and kind of how it went for you, please?
Yeah. So we had a great time down in South America. The main goal, it was a trade mission, so we were talking about potential soybean markets down there. There was also a United Soybean Export Council conference, I guess, in Colombia. So I also spent time at that conference.
So Sam, on a trip like this, you think about Iowa soybeans originating here in the state, ending up in a place like Peru or Colombia. Was that an eye-opening experience for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting to see and very enlightening to see the presence that U.S. soy has globally, and that was absolutely on display down there.
And when I think about countries that have demand for United States soybeans, I could very well see Colombia being right there near the top of that list, but Peru is one that I would have overlooked a little bit. Am I wrong on that?
You're probably, they are overlooked, absolutely, and we can really see that from a U.S. Soy market share perspective. When you compare Colombia to Peru, their usage of soy is very similar. They're both in that 2.2 million metric tons of total soy consumed, but our market share between those two countries is drastically different. I think we're at close to 80% down in Colombia versus 6% in Peru.
So that might be the biggest disconnect then, is just that market share, because like you said, the Colombian market is already pretty mature. So does that mean still a lot of room for growth in Peru?
Yeah, and there is a ton of opportunity there, and that's why we were there, right? Is to continue to build connections, build relationships with some of the industries down there. We obviously have competitors with South America down there, just looking at geography, but I absolutely believe that there is opportunity.
So, Sam, what kind of places did you visit on this trip? Where did you see Iowa's, or I should say United States soybeans, kind of factor into the equation in Colombia and Peru?
So in Peru, we spent a lot of time. We met with the two largest poultry and swine integrators in the country, as well as a large dairy processor, talking about U.S. soy and its quality and benefits. In Colombia, we spoke with a large livestock integrator as well, and there was another delegation that was also down there that went to a large feed mill that was using almost exclusively U.S. soy.
And Sam, for this trip specifically, is it also to get across the point that United States soybeans are of such quality? Because like you said, there's sources for soybeans in South America that are much closer to these countries. Why would they opt for United States soybeans other than, looking for a good deal?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of our major talking points when we're there. The one integrator that we met with when we were in Peru, they buy virtually no U.S. soy. They have some experience with it in the past, and they blatantly told us they would be willing to pay a premium, albeit not a huge premium, but it is worth something for them to have U.S. soy. So that's a good place to start for us, at least to get the ball rolling down there.
And as a producer, is that nice to see as well, to know that sometimes it feels like you're fighting an uphill battle when other countries are able to provide soybeans at a cheaper price, but you know that United States soybeans are still very much in demand because of that quality?
Yeah, absolutely. As a producer, you love to see that. It's kind of credit to the work that the farmers are doing at the ground level, the people in our communities who are working at the crush plants and doing a great job providing a consistent, high-quality product.
And I would imagine then just that high-quality soybean goes farther in a place like Colombia or Peru that imports it because of that quality of the bean.
Yeah, I would think so. When you start talking nutritional aspects and everything, that's a little out of my scope of knowledge. But in listening to the different talking points of everybody that we were with, that absolutely is one of the key things.
So when you think about the future for Colombia, Peru, we've mentioned that Peru still has quite a bit of room to grow. Do you see that coming to fruition and getting that market share up to maybe a similar number like Colombia?
I would hope so. I don't know if we'll ever quite reach that level. Like I said, the competitors are there, and they're working on transportation methods from Argentina, Brazil to get through the Andes Mountains to the market of Peru. But I absolutely believe that quality U.S. soy is on the table.
So a trip like this in connection with the United States Soy Export Council, why is this put on the table? Why it's so important for a trip like this to Iowa producers? Why is that demonstrated?
Yeah, so with the United States Soybean Export Council, they had what they call their Americas Conference down there, and so it's all the countries in Latin America that are doing business with U.S. Soy products. They were all there. We listened to a lot of good speakers, and just we talked about all the benefits of U.S. soy, and it more than anything, it was an opportunity to get people from all these markets throughout Central, South America, Mexico, all of that, all together, just to network and build relationships. Because people down there are no different than people around here. A lot of our decisions as farmers are based on relationships we have with people, and so I think that was very, very eye-opening, and it was the first opportunity like this that I've had as a Iowa Soybean board member. So it was pretty enlightening to see that our checkoff dollars are not being wasted down there.
And Sam, I hear that all the time from the animal side of agriculture, that when producers get in front of international customers and consumers, they really appreciate that interaction between the two. Did you get that same feeling when you were in South America?
Absolutely. Yeah. Relationships are key in any business. And I think as farmers and people in the ag industry, it might even be taken to another level. And it was fun to see. I've got business cards of multiple contacts down there now, and there's a group of people from both Peru and Colombia that are hoping to make a trip up to the Midwest, hopefully Iowa, to do farm visits and port tours and processing tours and all of that. So hopefully it'd be fun to get some of those folks on our farm if possible.
And I'm sure all of the Iowa soybean producers appreciate those connections being built, that trust being built. Sam, is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers, our listeners know about, either with the trips that you took or just anything else at Iowa Soybean Association right now that you're working on?
No, not specifically. Just thank you for the support of the Iowa Soybean Association, and I just want to reassure that checkoff dollars are not being wasted. I think they're all being used to benefit the Iowa soybean farmer.
And I think those dollars, right on display on a trip like this. Sam, thanks so much for taking the time to tell us about it. He is Sam Showalter, District 2 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association. Sam, thanks for the time, and have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to Sam Showalter of the Iowa Soybean Association for joining today's show. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AM/PM on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that notification icon as well. That will let you know whenever we have any new video content available for you. Also, don't forget to listen to our free morning, midday, and closing market podcast, which are found on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, Quentin Slater, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.